We live our lives surrounded by a constant hum of noise. Between the endless stream of digital notifications, the pressure to always be available, and the demand to constantly produce, actual silence has become almost impossible to find. Our bodies were never meant to operate in this relentless, always-on state. We try to push through it, but the toll is obvious. Our sleep is suffering, our anxiety and depression rates are climbing, and our physical health is quietly falling apart. Thousands of years ago, an entire population found themselves in a highly similar situation. The ancient Israelites were trapped in Egypt, forced by a literal slave driver to work heavy labor 7 days a week with absolutely no break. We look back at that ancient regime and we recoil, yet we willingly submit to the exact same dynamic today. We have just replaced Pharaoh with modern masters, our money, the pursuit of the American dream, and our own self-imposed hustle culture. If your mind feels fractured and your body is exhausted, it is not a personal failure of time management. You are living under a systemic slavery of busyness. Breaking out of it requires a deliberate, engineered mechanism for liberation. When those ancient Israelites were finally delivered out of Egypt, they were led into an isolated wilderness. There, far away from their captors, the Creator gave them a completely new set of expectations designed for a free people. To ensure they would never slip back into the exhausted mentality of slaves, they were given a radical new command, and it was called the Sabbath day. Looking at this timeline of a standard week, we can see how the blueprint actually works. The first instruction is to labor vigorously for 6 days. This is an active command to work hard, treating your daily effort as a dedicated service to the Creator. But after those 6 days of heavy lifting, the second instruction kicks in. Stop. Rest entirely. This 7th day is designed to be completely set apart from the rest of the week. The human body and brain are fearfully and wonderfully made, designed as complex hardware that requires a cooling cycle to avoid total system failure. By blurring work and rest into a continuous, anxious loop, we ignore the manufacturer's cadence for peak performance. This 6-to-1 ratio is the engineered limit of human endurance. Ignoring this cadence is the mechanical reason for our modern physical and mental erosion. If the solution to our exhaustion is so straightforward, why is it so incredibly difficult for us to just stop working for one single day? Our refusal to rest stems from a fear that the world stops spinning when our hands do. We struggle to trust that we will be provided for if we aren't the ones doing the providing. We fall into a deep anxiety trap. We convince ourselves that if we pause our striving and earning for even 24 hours, we will run out of food, our bank accounts will drain, or lose our social status. Taking a Sabbath directly confronts that fear. It is a radical demonstration of faith. By intentionally pausing our labor, we are actively trusting the Creator to supply exactly what we need while our hands are completely still. This deliberate, intentional pause demonstrates trust in an economic and spiritual system far larger than our own hustle. For many, the concept of a Sabbath brings up images of a legalistic prison. They imagine rigid rules, forced boredom, or an excuse to ignore a neighbor in need. This is actually a gift. It is a set-apart day engineered for delight and feasting, where we find an identity that has nothing to do with our job titles. Look at this calendar grid for a practical roadmap. Start small. Pick just one day this month to disconnect completely. Once you build that muscle, add a second day. The ultimate goal is a natural rhythm of intentional rest every single week. Practicing this weekly rhythm is a profound act of defiance against a culture of production and a deep act of worship. By letting go of the need to produce, we discover a peace that isn't earned, a practice that points us toward a permanent, eternal rest.